I've been having this one consistent issue, and I'm curious to see if you guys are having the same one. My workbench is this classic fold-out one from DeWalt, and it has its benefits, but there's one real big downside. I can't really attach a vise onto this. So this is where this comes in. It's my portable vise that I use to clamp small things, and it's great and all, but I think I can upgrade this to get more use out of it. Fast forward a couple hours and we have this, my mini Moxon vise that I can use on my workbench. And I'll actually be giving away this vise later in the future, and there'll be more details later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. Now the cool thing about this vise is it's very versatile. If I want, I can actually clamp this vise down to my workbench, or I can actually put them in the dog holes and then swivel the vise around and use it in any orientation on my bench. And I'm going to show you all the cool features of this mini Moxon vise in a little bit. But first, here's a quick build montage of how I built this thing. And in case you want to see the full video of how I built this Moxon vise, it'll be coming out shortly on my channel, or you can probably find it in the link down below. Now I'm going to show you all the cool features and functions of this vise. And I narrowed it down to 3 categories. The price of all the materials I used to build this, the functions and features of this vise, and the total difficulty of building this vise from start to finish. And I'm going to start off first with the price, because this vise is not expensive at all to build. Now you may need a couple tools to drill in all the holes, but other than that, it's just cutting down a piece of wood to a certain shape, and then drilling holes in certain spots in order to put your bolts and nuts in. You have to do a little bit of an inlay work, but it's not that hard of an inlay. All you do is just trace out the pattern of the nut and then put that in, and then everything's all good to go. Now I was lucky enough to get the plywood for this from a $5 bin at my local lumber store. So if you're able to find that, then it's a great steal. If not, then your local lumber yard might have wood around $10–15 in order to get the base for this Moxon vise. And breaking down the cost, I paid $8.98 for the dowels, 44 cents for both washers. The 2 bolts cost $2.68. Both nuts cost 48 cents. And the most expensive part was actually the star knobs. Now the star knobs together both cost $13.48, but you can actually use wing nuts for this build if you wanted to. It'll just be a little bit harder to turn in your vise. And for the function, it's actually pretty easy. Assembling is just attaching the 2 pieces together into the bolts. And I drilled out larger holes just so I can slide in easier. Then once that's there, you just have to attach on your washers. And then screw in your star knobs, or if you got the wing nut options, then your wing nuts. And then the cool thing about this vise is with these dogs that I made, I can attach it down to my workbench in each one of the dog holes, so I can get a different vise configuration down, either going one way or the other. Now these dogs are actually slightly oversized and slightly undersized, and all I have to do is just put in the dogs into the vise. I'm tightening it down, and now I can use this in this function here. And when you're clamping in stuff to your vise, there's going to be a pressure difference on the top and the bottom. The bottom is going to push in more than the top since there's nothing there to support it, and there's a quick solution for that. All you have to do is just get something with the same thickness as your workpiece, and then slip it in at the bottom, and then when that's in the bottom, you should be able to get even clamping pressure along your workpiece. Now the unique part of the vise is definitely the ends where you can actually use dog holes or clamping it down to your workbench. And clamping it down to your workbench is super easy. You just have to take out the dog holes, and then you want to put the end with the holes down on the edge of the bench, and then get whatever clamps you have out, and then make sure it's not in the way of the vise. And now it functions the exact same way as you had it before. It's a vise that's pretty much attached to your bench without having to screw it in. My favorite feature though is definitely the dog holes that go on the inside, and I actually got really lucky on this. I never measured out the distance between the dog holes on my workbench, and the design that I happened to make happened to be the exact distance I needed, so I got extremely lucky and then proceeded to make a huge mistake. And you may have noticed that one dog hole is actually larger than the other dog hole, and it definitely wasn't because I drilled the wrong hole by accident, then got the wrong size dowels, and then happened to find a solution that worked out in the end, which was completely by luck. Definitely didn't happen. But I managed to make it work, and then all I have to do is just put them down in the dog holes like this, and then when I wedge this one in, it's actually stuck down in there. And in the future, I'm actually going to get a larger dowel for this one, just to make sure that this gets wedged in as well, to make sure that it can't move, because there's still a little bit of a wiggle play when I have it over here. And yeah, it's super cool. I can actually use it in this orientation, and in case I want to clamp something down the middle of the bench, I just go there, and I put the vise like that, and I clamp it down the middle and work there. So I can work in both sides, and I actually love this feature about it. And then once I get the right dowel for this, it's gonna work perfectly fine. And by far the most fun of this project was actually building this thing. Now, this actually used a various amount of tools I had in my shop. I could have got away with just normal hand tools and hand saws, but using a table saw, router, and then some hand tool work made this vise build really easy. But I'm super happy with this, and then like I said before, I want to give this away to someone, but I'm not too sure how to do giveaways on this channel. So if you know how giveaways work, just let me know down in the comments, and then in the future I'll make a video on when I'm going to give this away once I have that all set up. Now this vise is not set in stone. There's some things I want to change on it, and if you guys have any feedback of what I can add to it or what I can do in the future to make this better, let me know in the comments, because I do want to build this again for myself just with those updated features and hopefully not make the same mistakes. And the complete Moxon build video should be coming out April 20th, the day after this video comes out. And also on the screen there should be a video of me building my first nightstand, so you can check that out if you want to. I'll catch you guys later.